Hi, this is Andy Doctor. Today, I am going to tell you some basic principle of repair of anything, not necessarily car. It could be home repair or anything else. I love DIY and I have learned a lot. So today, I am going to share with you the principle that I believe you need to follow. Now, of course, I have an example. The example here is the car I got earlier the year in April. It's a 2006 Volvo XC90 with a V8 engine with more than 250,000 miles, but it has really good condition. Actually, that's why I bought it. The day I checked on the car, it was pretty warm. I did not need any heat. But when I get the car back, I realized the heat's basically not working. In fact, the day I checked it, I did check the heat and it feels kind of warm, so I thought that should be okay. But on a colder day, it's totally useless. So obviously, I need to fix that. So how would you start the diagnosis? Okay, first principle, before you fix anything, you don't want to put a random part into the car and hope it works. It usually doesn't, and that wastes your time and money. Unfortunately, a lot of so-called professionals in dealership or in shops actually do it that way, and they charge you a lot of money and never fix it. That's why I love doing it myself. So what should you do first? Well, first of all, you want to check something really simple, and maybe that is the cause, or if not, you rule out the simple one. For example, if you don't have coolant in the car, of course, you are not going to get heat, so that you can check over that with the coolant reservoir. Of course, I would never buy a car low on coolant, so that wasn't the issue. But if that's your car and you haven't checked it for a long time, you suddenly don't have heat, definitely need to look into that. And by the way, you need to check on why the coolant go low. That could be something super serious. Could damage the engine easily, but anyway, that's a different topic. So I did know that wasn't an issue. So that's very obvious. You can look. And now there is another one that's also really obvious if you know something about car, which is the thermostat. No, you could not see from outside, unlike the coolant reservoir. But for those who know, if the thermostat stuck open, it will take forever for the car to reach operating temperature. And of course, in that case, you are not going to get heat, at least not soon enough. Now, I know the thermostat definitely did not stuck open. Why was that? The car can get to operating temperature within 3 or 4 minutes, or even less than that. So I know that part for sure was good. Okay, so that is another easy thing to rule out. Now what? Since two easy things did not have any problem. The next one you want to do, by the way, though, is that if there is something you want to do anyway, and that one related to your problem, go ahead and do it. So the car again had 252,000 miles to be exact. I honestly do not know when was the last time they replaced the coolant. And if the coolant is old, there could be a lot of deposit inside the coolant, and that could clog the heater core, and coolant will not be able to go to the heater core, and of course you are not going to get any heat. So I decided to replace the coolant, and it only cost me something like $30 and a couple of hours to do it anyway, so why not, right? Old coolant is not good for the longevity of the engine anyway. By the way, it's really easy to change coolant on this car. I may make a video in the future, okay, for whoever wants to do it. And if that is the case, I will put in the link in the description for you. Anyhow, the coolant come out rather clean. Yes, there were a little bit of deposit, but definitely not enough to cause the issue. Okay, so we basically finished two principles so far. We rule out something super simple, and we actually indeed replace something that we will do anyway, even without the problem, but neither of them fix the problem. So what's next? Well, now you want to look at it more carefully. Try to look for something specific to this question. In this case, something specific to the car. So let's look at the coolant hose to the heater core. That was something I realized rather interesting. Typically, this is how you get heat. There will be a coolant hose coming out of the engine and go into the heater core, and then of course there will be an exit hose coming out. If you look at this car though, you will realize that the coolant hose does not come directly from the engine. In fact, there is one hose coming out from here, come out all the way to where below the headlight is, and then there is another hose coming back and going into the heater core. That is something really special, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense honestly, because first of all you waste hose. Secondly, you are wasting heat because the hose runs so far, and if it is so cold out there, you really lose heat in this case. Well, that means there must be something tricky over here, okay, below where the headlight is. So the next thing we want to do is we want to take out the headlight and check what's below it. This car is the easiest one to take the headlight out. These two metal bars that you take out, and the whole assembly will come out like that. Okay, and there is a connector here. You just pull out, and then this thing come out. Okay, so now we take the headlight out, and we're going to put it somewhere. So if we look carefully over here inside the hole, and I'm going to use my phone to take another video because it's probably not easy to see from the main video. There is a water pump out there, okay, which is driven by electricity. So this car is very special for the fact that it has an electrical control and driven water pump for the heating to work, and not too many cars have this. For Volvo though, only the V8 engine has it. Okay, so even you have the same XC90, if you don't have the V8 engine, it doesn't do it this way. Some other German cars have this water pump also, but again, not too many of them. Well, since it's electronic device, obviously we want to look at the electronics. Snap on the tab and you can remove the connector. What I did back then though was this. I start the engines when the engine was totally hot, okay, and I make the heat to maximum and the wind to maximum. In other words, I call for heat, as much heat as possible, and then I check for voltage here using a multimeter. And again, engine is running and engine is fully hot, okay, and I call for heat, maximum heat, 0 volts. I know it's 0 volt because engine is not running right now, but you know, you just pretend that the engine is running. So in other words, when the car calls for heat, there is no electricity coming to the water pump, and of course the coolant will not circulate, and that's why you don't have much heat, very little heat, effect off. So after I realized that there is no electricity to the connector, one obvious problem you want to check is the fuse, and in that case you need your owner's manual, and if you look at it, number 20 here is the coolant pump, and look, only the V8, and it's a 5N. That fuse is actually under the steering column, and no, I'm not going to show you that part, but I did look at it. The fuse was totally good, so it's not the fuse issue, but I still do not have electricity here when it should. So that means somewhere in the wiring have issue. And at first I attempt to fix that one, but I realize there will be a whole lot of stuff that I need to remove all the way from here to over there. And there are something like 5,000 wires inside. So I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. Forget it. Because it's so difficult to find. Anyhow, you may say, what? Then why is the point of the video? Well, I decided to do a shortcut. And yes, shortcuts in repair is allowed as long as you do it in a reasonable way. I decided to run my old wire. Just forget about the original wiring. Okay, I even put a fuse out, and you see I already have an extra wire out here running from here. So there is a fuse box over here. Conveniently will allow me to get electricity from there and run the wire. Now, by the way though, the ground was good. Okay, it was the actual power wire that had issue. So let's look at the fuse box and I will show you how I did that. So this is the fuse box, really conveniently located, and we can just open it up and have a look. Okay, and yes, have your menu ready to see the definition of the fuse. So I am going to borrow some electricity from a fuse that is running for something else to the water pump, so my water pump can run and I will get heat. Okay, now this is important. You want to get electricity from a fuse that is not essential for the running of the car. For example, you absolutely do not want to get electricity from something like ECM, throttle body, etc. Okay. Also, the fuse should not have power when the car is not running, and of course, it should have power when the car is running. And in those cases, you just have to run the car, turn off the car, and use the a multimeter to check for voltage. When I look into that, and I realize number 14 is oxygen sensor. Well, that sounds like a good one to do. You know, oxygen sensor is obviously important for emission, but even when that goes bad, your car is still safe to drive. You obviously don't want to pick on anything like ABS, for example, okay, or fuel pump. No. Those are too essential. And some of those fuels have constant power anyway. They have power when the engine is not running, so you shouldn't do that. And after that, it was just very easy. Okay, you see that? This is how we do it, and you can use this type of device to get electricity from a fuse. You basically give you two fuses instead of one. One is the original one, and one is the one that you are going to use, and then you just run the wire to the water pump, and we are good. This is just the power wire. I used double wire because I was lazy, did not separate them. Okay, it's not one ground and one power. Both are power. So after that, it was fixed. I have heat. Okay, fantastically, and the car running perfectly fine. And of course, the oxygen sensor was okay. Okay, no error message. I do want to tell you something interesting though. Okay, when you work on anything, honestly tell you, something unexpected could happen. Back then, if you look at the manual, number 13 actually have no definition. And number 13, in fact, does not have power when the car is not running. And I was so excited, I tapped on to number 13. The car runs rough. And I said, what's going on here? So I looked over the internet and I realized this manual have a mistake. Okay, so the manual comes with the car, in fact has an issue, which is number 13 in fact is for throttle control, something that's super important. But for whatever reason, they forget to print it out and there is an online PDF version. For the same year of the car, by the way, this is 2006, that file is for 2006, say 13 is for throttle control. That makes perfect sense. So, yep, was a small episode, something that you could not expect for sure, but hey, you know, that's life, right? So anyhow, I hope you learned something really useful from me today. Again, this is not really about the fix of this problem. It is, but not so important. It is the basic principle of how you can do any kind of repair, and I am going to repeat it here. First of all, look at something really simple and rule those one out, or fix that one if that is the issue. Second, fix something that you would do anyway even without the problem, so you are not wasting your money, and quite often that one will fix your issue. And if that doesn't work, look for something special and specific. Like in this case, the coolant hose is kind of interesting. Okay, and after that, hopefully you identify your issue and you fix it. And yes, the way I fixed it though was not the most professional one, but I feel good because, you know, look at this one. This one has a ton of wire inside, and that wire run into it. I really do not want to open up the whole dashboard inside the car and find the wire and see what's going on. So I just happy to fix it in this way. So again, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video is helpful for you. If so, I hope that you can like this video, or even better, subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.